Okay. Still doing that. All right. So from looking at what I just showed y'all, whenever if there ever comes a time where you are asked to find the function notation of an even function or an odd function, we can already see that from our previous examples that I just showed y'all, whenever we have f of negative x, if we put x in the even function, we're going to always come out with an even answer. Now, if we put f of negative x into an odd function, we are going to come out with an odd answer. Okay? Let me make sure that y'all can see it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move this screen up. So, our first example that we're going to have here is f of x equals x squared plus 5. Now, what we have to do is describe the function, whether or not this function is even, odd, or neither. Now, remember, what we just did was we inserted the negative inside of this. So if it comes out to be the same, it's going to be even. If it comes out to be different than what we originally had, which is our original problem, it's going to be an odd function. So we're going to start by inputting negative x. And everywhere we see x, we're going to put negative x. So negative x squared plus 5. And let's go over here. We have negative x times negative x. We know a negative times a negative is a positive, correct? So that's just going to simply be x squared, okay? So we're just going to bring that right back over here. We have x squared plus 5 as our final answer. So f of negative x is still going to bring you right back to your initial problem. We worked it out. We put negative x inside of everywhere we see x at. So once we did that, we did work out negative x times negative x, and that brought us back to x squared. So since this is our initial answer, this would be an even function. This would be an even function. All right, I'm gonna give y'all a few seconds to take a look at that. All right, so I'm gonna move this up, and I'm also gonna save this as well for y'all. All right, so let's move this one up. All right. We have g of x equals x cubed minus 2x. Now remember, everywhere we see an x, we're going to put what? Yes, correct. A negative g of x, negative x. We're going to input negative x cubed minus 2 and negative x. So a negative times a negative is going to give us what again? Correct, a positive. And a positive times a negative is always going to bring us right back to a negative. So that's going to remain as negative x cubed. Negative 2 times negative x, that'll change to a positive 2x. Nothing else we got to work out here. So, our g of negative x is going to now equal x cubed plus, well, negative x cubed plus 2x. Now, if you notice, this, I don't know if anybody caught that. This is the exact opposite of that. This one is x cubed minus 2x. This one is negative x cubed plus 2x. So these signs are opposite. So if you remember from what we did earlier, if we have the same thing but we ended up flipping those signs, we would end up with an odd. We would end up with an odd function. All right, so again, with these odd functions, you should end up with the same numbers, but we're gonna end up flipping those signs, okay? So I'm letting y'all write that down for a second to get whatever y'all gotta get from that. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm gonna move this up because I just realized y'all can pause this. All right, and we're going to do one more and then we're just gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Got, I don't want that color. H of x equals x to the fifth minus 4. So we're going to go at it again. Negative x. Every time we see x, we're going to put negative x. So we have negative x to the fifth minus 4. Okay? Now let me kind of just go ahead and work this one out for y'all. Negative x, negative x, negative x, negative x, and negative x. So those two are positive x. These two are negative x. This one, positive x. Next is going to be a negative x. Okay? So, negative x minus 4. Anything else we have to solve from here? No. Okay. Now, this one I want you to pay attention to because take a second to just look at this. Don't pay attention to this. Take a second to look at this. Just take a second to look at it, examine it, and examine the last problem that we just did. Okay, so is this the exact same as our initial problem? It is not. It doesn't bring us back to our initial problem because we have this negative right here. So we know that this, when it comes down to even, we can just cancel that out because it's not even going to be even one. Now, I know when we have these odd functions, whenever we have odd functions, we can see that they are going to be the same except for we're going to flip the signs. But this is negative 4, this is a negative 4. These signs aren't flipped. This is our final answer, but these signs aren't flipped. So at this moment, it can't be an odd either. So at this point, this will have to be neither. So I'm giving y'all a few more seconds to go ahead and write this down. Please feel free to ask me any questions that y'all may or may not have. I'm available to answer them. So I don't feel like this is too complicated, but I can sometimes understand where y'all can develop a few questions. So if y'all do have any, please ask me.